real value from the seminar. I think that's great. Let's talk about some of your students down there in Houston. Now we just heard you have guys participating in jiu-jitsu tournaments, but you also have some pretty skilled MMA fighters, both pro and amateur down there?
Well, I'm fortunate to have the experience of training with a guy named Rocky Long. And Rocky is, I think sometimes he fights 145, 155, but you know, he's got one of those records. He's a professional. It's like 32 and 28. I mean, they fight.
You say he fights like every week?
Every weekend. I mean, it just seems like he's always fighting, Andy, with somebody.
Is he an exciting fighter?
Yeah, he's a pretty good fighter. He is. Yeah, absolutely he is. And he's done well. I'm not sure what rank he is in jiu-jitsu, but he applies jiu-jitsu. I've worked with him on both jiu-jitsu and sambo, but he's a good stand-up fighter. And he has a stable of good young guys that 145 up to Nick. I think Nick fights 205. So, and that's with Rocky. And then at Rising Sun Martial Arts Academy, there's a lot of good young guys fighting there.
Talk about the Black Ninja, if you would.
Excuse me. Well, I was fortunate to train and teach at the Rising Sun Martial Arts Academy. And if you look back at the owner of that, that is Jason Franks. And Jason Franks was the original
Power Ranger.
Power Ranger, the Black Power Ranger. And the deal is with Jason Franks, he is the real deal. I mean, he is very good at martial arts. He trains with the Wolfpack in Florida in jiu-jitsu. He's been to Thailand fighting Muay Thai. He's very good in karate with sticks, short and long. We've done Huba together. We've done Kali together. And like I said, he's a very well-rounded athlete. He would like to come up here in the early spring and get into a fight. If we can work on that too. And he's got probably.
Is he a pro? He's a pro?
No, he's not a pro. Yeah. So he's got. There's probably, I know of, out of his school, 6 or 7 fighters that would like to come up and.
He's
just
doing better than the Green Power Ranger then. That guy's been on death row or something in Florida.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
But Jason's been very successful. Actually, he has 3 schools. He has 2 in Houston and 1 in California.
The news. It's called the news, Brian.
You mentioned that his schools are really nice schools.
They're very nice.
Kind of traditional in nature, but also breaking out, bringing people like yourself to teach MMA and jiu-jitsu.
They're very structured. They all are a black belt academy. There's a lot of respect. There's a lot of discipline that goes into all of Jason's schools, and he's on site all the time. All the time. So.
I think that's great. What you and I talked about this, and I think this will make a big difference for MMA here in the Missouri areas, bringing about, like you said, 6 or 7 guys from that school, maybe other guys from the Houston area to come fight against the guys in the St. Louis area.
Yeah, that would be interesting to get something going like that, Andy. If we could look at that, focus on that, and maybe plan for something like that. Maybe at the same time, Jim, look at a seminar. Make it the same weekend. I've been fortunate to be in some situations where we had the fights on Friday nights, and we also and then something on Saturday. Absolutely, it works very well.
I have a feeling you guys might know who this is, but this guy's looking for Jay D'Amato and Steve Yount. Go ahead.
Hey, this is Ken Erickson from New York.
Oh, okay.
Guys there.
I didn't even recognize. I should have recognized Kenny's voice. Hey,
It's the Ken.
what's up, Ken?
It's the Ken.
How you guys doing?
We're good, Ken, and you? We're going from New York to Houston tonight.
I mean,
Wow.
we're going international.
You can
here.
come in every week.
Kenny, how you doing? Okay.
Doing good.
Good, man.
Kenny, can you hear us up there?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Oh, cool. Well, that's Ken Erickson. Also, as you mentioned, a level 7 instructor under Gokar.
Yes, I was fortunate to train under Kenny and work with Kenny in ensemble with Gokar. He has a very strong relationship with Gokar, both, personally, because Gokar and him are always communicating, talking back and forth to each other, but Kenny's also a very good martial artist. He started with Jay and I don't know how many years ago, Kenny, that's been a long time.
He's pretty good for that small frame of his.
Oh yeah, that little small frame.
We can only get some muscle on him.
Yeah, just a little
Kenny,
size.
you gotta hit the gym a little more often. What's going on up there, Kenny?
Not much. Just, trying to not freeze to death. We're getting some good weather right now, so everything's good.
Well, good deal.
What's good weather for you up there?
How's everything in St. Louis?
Everything's good. We got, Steve Yount back at CMMA, at least part-time, and really been enjoying that.
I know. I'm hoping to be able to get out there and train with your guys some.
Well, we were just talking about
I
it.
ever grappled with.
Steve was?
Yeah, Steve Yount was the very first guy I ever grappled with.
Well, Kenny, go ahead and tell that story, Kenny. Go ahead.
I was going to school in St. Louis at the time. It was back in '93, I think.
Yep.
And a guy that I was going to school with took me down to, he wanted to take me to a martial arts school. And so I went down there, and I'm expecting to see some kind of a fancy place, and he takes me.
We know that, Andy, don't we?
Yeah. Sorry to disappoint you.
I'm a little nervous, you know?
Yep.
And there's this door, and there's no signs, nothing, and we go down into this basement, and all these guys are rolling around, and this guy comes up and says, hey, you know, you want to train? I said, yeah, okay. And he just beat me up. But he did it in a nice way. And it was a situation where I thought, you know, I wasn't ready, let's go again, you know. And so, oh, yeah, okay. So he choked me again, he arm over and over, and he beat me up for about an hour, and then he said, you should do some stand-up stuff with this other guy. That's when I met Jay. And then Jay slapped me around for about an hour. So that was my first introduction to this stuff about 16 years ago.
Well, Kenny, tell him how you came in to beat us up.
My name's probably still on the board where I signed up.
Hey, Jay just said, tell him how you came in to beat them up.
He'd been to every other martial arts school and slapped everyone
I
around.
thought that at that time in my ignorance, I thought, you know, no one's going to just throw me around. I was a pretty strong guy. I competed in powerlifting, and I thought, you know, there's nobody who's going to do this to me. And I didn't really believe that martial arts is effective. I just thought it was a bunch of nonsense. And man, I got a real education. You know,
But that's why the guy brought you there, because he had a bad attitude.
one of the best things that ever happened.
He goes, you need to come to this school.
Well, that's excellent, Kenny. We can't wait for you to come into St. Louis. Thanks for calling in.
All right, guys, you take care.
Thanks, Ken.
All right, buddy.
How big a guy is he?
What, 245?
About as large as
He's 245, 270.
Yeah, Jim, he's a big
Normal.
guy. What is he, 6'3"?
About 6'2", 6'3", but he's as big as a house and
Oh,
strong.
cut like me?
Yeah.
A lot like you.
All right.
He's one of the strongest people I've ever met in my life.
Right.
I mean, he's talking, you know, squatting this and lifting 800 pounds of this and 700 pounds of that, and it's like, oh boy.
Now, I've heard the full story. Tell a little bit more. He had been to several martial arts
Yeah.
schools and
Well,
kind
they
of
had
had his way.
Well, he was at the Logan Chiropractic School,
Uh-huh.
and he went to school out there, and he went into the martial arts room where they would all meet, and he beat a bunch of them up there, and they all said what a bad attitude he had. So they didn't know what to do with him. And one of the guys had been coming to our school, and he goes, I know a place you ought to go and see. You won't beat them up. And he goes, take me down there. That's what I was saying. He came down there. He said, I'll show you. I'll beat them up too. So he came in, and it's like, okay. And he didn't beat anybody up that day. It was a good day.
It was a good day for him, though, because it totally changed him as a person.
Yeah,
and
absolutely did.
He became a technique instead of strength after that.
Yeah.
It was all about technique, and he's a hell of a technician.
He's a hell of a technician and a hell of a guy.
Yeah, great guy.
Great coach.
But he had to see something work. He wanted to see something work, and he needed to, you know, somebody had to show him something there, because he was beating these guys up out there and had no respect for him.
Well, I've been hearing nothing but good things about you, and they're lucky to have you back in town, is what I keep hearing from them. That's their word, the MMA people's words, so
Good.
it
Well,
must
Jim,
be a really good thing.
I'm happy to be back with Jay in the school, and look forward to a lot of good training, a lot of good opportunity to grow the arts.
That's awesome.
So,
Great, and Steve, we're gonna have you out here hopefully whenever you're in town. You'll help us with some guest hosting also, and really appreciate it.
yeah, look forward to that, Andy, very much. Appreciate you having me.
You got a wealth of knowledge to bring. That's going to be good.
And we're gonna have Steve back out here in future segments here tonight, but we're gonna take a little musical break right now. And when we come back, we're gonna have Chris Gideon and one of his students in. But Chris has a fight this Saturday night, I believe, in Metropolis.
Saturday.
So Chris
The
is a
G-Train.
heavyweight. Is he fighting heavy or super
yeah.
heavy?
He's super heavy.
He's super heavy for this
G-Train.
fight. He would normally get down to a heavyweight, but I know he's known about this fight for all of about 2 days so far. So this is a last-minute fight for him. So he's fighting super heavy.
We
Which
got
is cool.
the
I
itch
think
Friday
it's good.
night. He was there Friday night, sitting right behind us. He got the itch, and
Hey, Chris is going to take somebody's head off one day. I hope it's this weekend. But when we come back, we'll have Chris Gideon. In the meantime, this is Sooner Than Later with False Perceptions.
aha.